Hello and welcome to Inspired Connections, where we share wisdom one conversation at a time. Today's featured guest is on the cutting edge of redefining sales based on heart-centered wisdom and alignment. Jaclyn Van Greunen is a sales leadership trainer and creator of the Sales EQ Method, a bold framework redefining how we connect, sell, and lead in the modern world. With a background in human behavior, emotional intelligence, and performance psychology, Jaclyn helps leaders and entrepreneurs unlock their blueprint for influence by aligning sales with truth, connection, and purpose. As the founder of TheLadyJaclyn, she's on a mission to make sales more human and leadership more embodied. Please welcome our featured guest and our very own TheLadyJaclyn, Jaclyn Van Greunen. Jaclyn, it's so
Hello,
wonderful to see
James. How
you.
are you doing?
I'm very well, and it's so wonderful to have you here and home with us and advancing to where you are today.
Thank you, thank you. It's so good to be in your energy and in your space. I feel like I need to put you in my pocket, and every time I need to have a little intro, I'm going to throw you out there and be like, just hold on, dear James, just wants to intro me quickly.
We do this. See, it's the synergy of the moment, of the energies, and having you back. And I so want to jump in because there's so
Mhm,
much to talk about. So let's start because we're talking about business and how it's changing and how you're revolutionizing business, literally. And so,
mhm.
but
That's
let's
the
back
goal.
up for a minute, right? Yeah, because that's what you're doing. And it's ancient wisdom that's being kind of dusted off and brought back out into the light. And it meets the times, right? It meets this day, this the new. And so
hmm
that's where I want to jump backwards though. Let's back up a little bit and explain to everyone and welcome Olivia, human design. Let's talk about human design and how that's been fundamental and foundational for you in this pursuit.
Absolutely. So, gosh, a couple of years back, not exactly sure when, I stumbled across this system. I've always been one to love systems. So like numerology, dabbled in a little bit of astrology, love like the Enneagram and all of the things that explain us more to ourselves, right? So it's kind of you get a deeper understanding of yourselves, but then also most importantly, others around you. And I came across the system through a coach that I actually had invested in. She pulled up my chart, she read it, and honestly, in that moment, I didn't really know her because I mean, I think we had a couple of calls before I decided, cool, we connect. I'm going to work with her. I'd never felt so seen and recognized in that moment. And all she was doing was literally reading like the bio of my chart that I now know. Because once I figured out the system, I then deep dived in, I dove into it literally. I went like down a rabbit hole and I just devoured all of the knowledge to try and understand how can I use the system? Obviously, you start with your friends, your family, the people around you in your inner circle, and then naturally it progressed into using it for other people and doing one-to-one coaching and kind of explore and basically using it as a tool to understand the other. And so that for me was the most revolutionary, like the revolutionary, I think, turning point
Mm.
to understanding and knowing that there was actually something tangible and practical that I could use to understand not only myself, but the other person that I was dealing with. So that was, but when I actually discovered it though, I didn't realize how pertinent it would actually be in my coming years, because I was kind of doing it just for fun because I had this I still have this immense amount of curiosity to understand people and why they do what they do in their human behavior. Only now do I actually realize that by implementing what it is that you learn about yourself and the other, are you set on almost like a trajectory of your path and your purpose and your fulfillment. And you still have to go through your human experience, but it almost feels like you can be more of yourself because you have this deeper understanding of
Mm.
yourself and the other. So it was, oh gosh, and it still is. I mean, still to this day, I notice a few things without pulling people's charts. I can read into them, like, and I probably guess 9 out of 10 times their energy type or little traits that they might have based on what they say or how they act or behave. And then it kind of gives me an understanding of them so that I can also build rapport and connection a whole lot quicker. And that kind of, I suppose, led into where I am now, which is the development of the sales EQ method.
Mm. And so, what's interesting again with human design, astrology, numerology, I Ching, they're all divination systems. Some of them are thousands of years old, of course. And what's so interesting is how this wisdom, this ancient divination, these systems have been around, and yet, we go through this period where, it's air quotes woo woo, and so
Mm-hmm.
people don't give it the validity and the depth and the value that it
Mm-hmm.
richly and truly deserves, and how it can be integrated into our daily lives, which is what you're working on and doing with all of this with the sales EQ method, which we'll get to, and how human design can literally transform business, because
Mm-hmm.
it's to your point, it's being seen. I mean, it's educating people to see in a new way. That's
Absolutely.
yeah. Talk quickly about the five energy types. There are five primary energy types in human design.
Mm-hmm. So the majority of the population would fall into the generators and then the manifesting generators. So generators are your energy types that are the doers. So I always joke and I say they're plugged in consistently to a source of energy. And as long as you're feeling satisfied and doing what you absolutely love to do, then you can literally go for days. You naturally will spark the energy, and you're kind of like the fire starters as well, and you're that what's that steam, like the steam engine that just goes as long as you're satisfied. If you're not, however, that's when you also then reach burnout. So even though you're automatically plugged into that energy and you got a 24-hour battery, you can also become drained when you're out of alignment, which is so important to understand. Then you get your manifestors. Before I get to manifesting generators, because you'll see there's a bit of a combination of both. So your manifestors, they are the ones that are here to initiate. So they are here to kind of put the fire under people's bums to get them going. They are the big thinkers, the ones that are the forward thinkers, and the innovators, and the ones that really are pushing us forward, right? They do things a whole lot differently as well, and they are generally I want to say before the forward movers of the pack. So that's your manifestors. They are not plugged into the energy source 24/7. So they've got to take a moment where they actually need to recuperate and rest. And then that's when you get your manifesting generators. So it sounds like it's a little bit of both. But what it actually is again, you've got your natural energy that you have within you, as long as you're feeling fulfilled and satisfied. But you are the people that predominantly are your multitaskers. So one moment they'll be photographers, the next moment they're life coaches, the next moment they're studying to become doctors. They're doing multiple things simultaneously, and they're designed that way. So again, it's pushing the mold from what we've been taught is to kind of go linear. Manifesting generators don't necessarily go linear. They can kind of jump between whatever lights them up, and that's kind of what gives them energy.
Mm.
So you can see that it's a little bit of a hybrid of both the generator and the manifesting generator, even though they're vastly different, but different three types. Then you get your projectors. So your projectors are not plugged into that energy source. Projectors are here to literally see the other. So they are the natural guides, also natural leaders. They are here to understand other people in order to understand themselves. And they're also here to kind of inspire other people into success. And then through that, then they feel fulfilled, they feel recognized, they feel seen. Uh, Projectors. Then you get your reflectors. So reflectors are very rare. It's funny enough, I've actually met a couple of reflectors, and it's so powerful to actually be in their energy, because their energy, if they're looking at their chart, their energy is quite open and quite clear. So clear would be the wrong word, more open, meaning that they're mirrors. They're here to really reflect back what society is actually doing and show us where we're at.
Mm.
So they're kind of like the big mirror of the whole space. So you can see all 5 types are completely different. But what's also beautiful is there will be differences. So even if you find 2 manifesting generators or 2 reflectors, there's differences because each one of us are individual and we have our own unique blueprint. So even though you fall into a type, you've got nuances and differences that then make you different from the next type. So it's not just classifying you into those 5 types, it's then diving deeper into the chart to actually understand. But you can also see from the 5 types how important all of the 5 types are, and how interesting it is when you actually see the team dynamic, or when you have a group of people and you can kind of pinpoint and pick up who what type is and how they actually then work together or they don't work together, and when they're in their not self and when they're in their self, and how they complement the energy. So that's what I think the beauty of it is not boxing you in to say you're this type and then you know what I mean, like you fall into this
Right.
kind of subcategory, but it's looking at going, okay, that's my starting point. So now I understand my energy based on my
Yes.
type, but then how can I go deeper to individualize that blueprint so that you can really see how you're best designed to do things, like make decisions, be in relationships, fulfill your role at work.
Yes, and it's so much like astrology in a certain way. Our natal birth chart is that snapshot of the universe at the time we're born. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
misnomer where people, to your point about the 5 energy types and everything, it's like, okay, this is the snapshot of your chart. This is your energy type in human design. And let me just bring that up really quickly because this is what we're speaking about is human design, TheLadyJaclyn. And you can reach her at linktree/TheLadyJaclyn. But the bigger piece here is that what it then says is, yes, this is the snapshot, or yes, this is the energy type. Now, like the beautiful flower or the onion, keep unlayering it, keep getting to the pearl, the wisdom of things, dive deeper with it, because we're not bound or restricted by something. It's literally the blueprint or the snapshot that says, here's where you're starting, here's your type, your energy type. Now, how might you transcend things, excel at things, recognize what's shadow aspects, all these different aspects that play. And to the point of business, institutions, businesses, governments, everything is comprised of people. So the minute you harness this ancient wisdom, this blueprint in business, in government, in governance, it's a game changer because you're bringing about wisdom as opposed to, well, why doesn't so and so excel at this position or job? It happens all the time. Well, is it an ill fit? Is it the wrong energy type for the wrong job or position? And yet, if we had
Mm-hmm.
that information and knowledge, how much more productive, harmonious companies, institutions, governments would be because you're harnessing
Mm-hmm.
that wisdom. It's
Absolutely. So I want to, because I'm a very practical person, and this is funny because there's a practical experience based on my life. So when I only learned about human design a couple of years ago, and through that I then uncovered, okay, this is my blueprint. So this is who I'm supposed to be. This is who I have been acting for the last however many years. So if I change 1 or 2 things, this is kind of gonna then I'm gonna feel a little bit more successful, right? So it was this, you can't I know something. So it's once you've awake, you just like open Pandora's box. You can't be like, oh no, I now know I got to eat healthy, but I choose not to eat healthy, right? So I had this like blueprint about how do I become successful in my life based on who I am and how my energy flows. And I could clearly see that what I had been doing wasn't necessarily in 100% alignment. And that's why I was falling a little bit short in the sense of feeling resentful or feeling bitter. And that's kind of the opposite of what my chart would then show. And it's interesting when I look back and I kind of see the moments that I truly understood how my energy flowed and I aligned with it. That was when I felt the most successful. And that's when I allowed life to, it was almost like I was open and I was available to receive all of the opportunities and the gifts and things of life. And as soon as I went against how my energy naturally flowed, that's when I, became sick, or I was burnout, or I had all the
Yes.
negative emotions, or I spiraled in a different way. And it was as simple as understanding naturally how you're designed, how your energy is designed within your makeup. Now, it's not necessarily as easy as going, okay, cool, I'm going to make a shift in my career to 100% align with this energy, because as we know today, a lot of the jobs and the career path that we take is not necessarily speaking to 100% your blueprint, in my case specifically. So like a projector or a reflector or a manifester, we're not constantly plugged into the energy source, which means sometimes working 8 to 5 doesn't really fit into our language. And so it doesn't mean that we can't work a normal job. It just means that we've got to have the space and the understanding to know, hold on, because we don't have natural energy source, we've got to rest. We've got to recover. However, when we are in doing mode and when we're moving, we can do what other people take 8 hours, we can then do in 4 hours, because we use systems, we use software, we know how to leverage people's skills and capabilities a whole lot better, because subconsciously we know we've got a limited amount of energy source.
Mm.
And that's just like a little explanation or example of how we can change the way we manage, or the way we structure our staff's day, so that we can understand, hold on, we don't need them to be in office from 8 to 5. We can actually have them work 4 hours, take an hour break, have them work a little bit more after that, then take another break, and then have a little, you know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
almost shifting the way that we naturally do things, because we've been doing it for centuries, into going, how do we actually get the best out of our staff by understanding what it is that they're actually requiring, so that they can show up in the best possible way.
To bring out the best in them. And this is something, to
Mm-hmm.
your point that you just said, we've been doing this for centuries and so forth. You know, the existing model, if you will, it's like one size fits all. You go to the office, you work
Mm-hmm.
40 hours a week, it's at a fixed location, yada, yada, yada. That's the current old system. Along came COVID, which knocked everyone into this whole, it just knocked everyone loose. And all of a sudden, this whole shift to teleworking, and how really there's a hybrid balance. And there's a study there's a woman, and she studied it for 10, 12 years. And she said, there's a sweet spot that talks about 3 days telework, 2 days in the office. And that is
Mm-hmm.
the hybrid that works, and that the productivity is up. The employees are happier. Everything's happening in a way that is very harmonious, aligned. And to your point, you could take it even a step further then and say, to your point, which energy type can do 8 hours in 3, and same productivity or exceeding, productivity. And so it's about looking at humanity, humans, energy, and business in a whole new way, whole
Mm-hmm.
new. It's a paradigm shift.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's easier, to just have this conversation and go, oh, this is what needs to happen. I mean, it's not as easy. We get it. It's a system, and it's a structure that has been working. So why change it? But ultimately, it is inevitably changing. And we could see that with COVID as well. There was a little bit of a change, a shift in how people actually showed up, how they worked, what their roles and responsibilities, or what their, I almost want to say, the output and the efficiency look like. And now it's kind of almost wanting to go back to normal. So a lot of times where
Air
a lot of
quotes.
people were working out of the office, yeah, going back to
Air
normal.
quotes.
They were,
Normal.
exactly, what is normal. So now they're forced to come back to the office. So totally understand that some people, and this is a thing, and this is where I think a bigger conversation needs to be had, is some people will flourish in the way things have been done, and that's natural, it's a guarantee. Then you're going to have other people that need a little bit of change, that need us to have a bigger conversation as to how can we get the best out of our employees by understanding them. So it's not necessarily going you know free for all, and you can work from home, and that, I mean, a lot of people don't feel
Right.
productive. Like, I know I don't feel 100% productive when I'm at home, but I also am not the person that you need to box in and force me into being in an office space from 8 to 5, because that, it drains my energy. So it's just, I suppose, planting the seed to having a bigger conversation on what that looks like. And it starts with, can we understand the other a whole lot better and truly understand them,
Yes.
understand the way that they're best designed to make decisions, understand how do they get motivated, what inspires them, understand what are they actually good at, and do they know what they're good at, what are their weak points, what are their challenges, and do they know how to, are they equipped to know and understand how to deal with those challenges, how do they best designed to connect with other people. Those are the kind of conversations that we pretty much are starting to have. But it's turning a big shift, right? So it's not going to, it's that boat is not like a little tugboat, it's a massive ship that needs to turn. So it's going to take its time, but we are literally at the precipice of it. Like, I can already see it within the industry, in the space.
Turning, because the energy, I mean, all the major planets, the outer planets, are changing signs, and they're moving to air and fire. So where things have been fixed, where they have been grounded, you go to that one location, you work there 8 to 5, and the 40 hour, that model of life is concluding, it's ending. And so, and to the point where COVID knocked the ship loose, so to speak, and it created this hybrid, or this complete alternative, that you're working from home. To your point, now it's about having the discussions from the top down and the bottom up, to say, is there a better way to govern, to employ, to produce, to do these things that humans do, because they're all comprised of humans. And that's what we forget. I think people forget, they speak about the company or something, but the company is people. The
Mm-hmm.
government is people. The institution is people. And so this is where, so let's dive deep into this, because this is, from a sales perspective as well with business. I want to bring up, sales is no longer about the script, it's about the soul. It's a very powerful statement. And again, I go back, Jaclyn, to, for everyone listening, for every business person, leader, entrepreneur, employee, sales is no longer about the script, it's about the soul. It's not woo woo, it's real. Speak to that for
Mm-hmm.
us from a place of what you're integrating and revolutionizing and expanding on.
So we know that logically there is no business without sales. So we know that you need to sell in order to grow your business, in order to move forward. And we also know that the way that sales is being done is changing. And it's changing whether we like it or not, purely because of the natural growth of the innovation of technology. So now with AI, things are becoming more automated. Your natural, I mean, sales were predominantly very masculine. It was also predominantly order takers. You were predominantly, very pushy and very kind of in your face, and forcing kind of connection. But there was no real speak about connection at all. It was just, what can I get out of you? What can I get from you? And how can I actually deliver it, right? So we know that sales is changing because of the introduction into technology, the fact that everything is now becoming automated. I mean, what 5 sales people did, you can automate with your website, with social media marketing, with having influencers. I mean, it's literally, it's kind of like a no-brainer. So where we're moving towards now is not the redundancy of sales positions or the notion of sales, because like we said, without sales, without selling something, you don't have a business, right? You don't have growth. It's just the way that we approach the position is changing. So people are going to yearn more for connection. They're going to sift through the BS, I'd like to say. They're going to notice immediately the inauthenticity and where you want to try and sell me something. So I get, I call them spam calls daily. And I feel terrible because it is a person on the other end. But honestly, I don't give them a time of day because I feel it before I even answer the call. Energetically, I know this is going to be a spam call, and I know they're not going to be interested in who I am. I'm just a number. They're wanting to sell me something. So immediately, yes, it's still there, but that's going to change, right? Because the way you're going to convert is by actually truly having a connection with the person on the other end, because everything about their life is automated, and it's going to become even more so. And it's going to be like this dopamine overload. So what are people going to want to connect with more? Other people, right? It's
Right.
not
You
going to
want
go away.
relationships. Right.
You want relationships. You want that human connection, because I almost want to say that is our primal nature. Is we're not lone men on an
Yes.
island. We're designed to connect. We're designed to, um, have another. We're designed to have community. We're designed to have people around us. The way that's important, and I think that's the conversation that is starting, is how can you build connection with the other if first of all you don't know yourself, because then you're going to be coming from a place of inauthenticity. And how can you build a connection with somebody else if you don't take the time to truly understand and know who that other is? And then how is it that your product or service can actually solve a problem that they might have, or you know uh, refer them to the next person that that might then be the solution to what they're looking at and asking for. So that's how it's changing, is it's shifting away from that pushy masculine energy into going, actually I need a deeper connection. Actually I need to first of all know myself so I can stand in my confidence, so I can show up in the way that I'm powerful, but then also that I have the empathy and the understanding of going, this is a person that I'm speaking to, and can I actually really solve their problem, or me personally, or can I then shift them to another person that I know that can maybe solve their problem for them?
And there's something about this, and here's the irony of it for me. We've gone with, and we're coming to it next, AI and automation that AI can afford and so forth. And, when you dial in now, instead of a live person, a human, you get this whole automated calling system, punch this number and punch that number. And it's only as robust or helpful as its programming, as it's programmed to be. And of course, I don't know that there's a human on the planet that's not frustrated by those systems, and how you just want to get to a human person to have that interaction and that connection, because the program choices, it's again a one size fits all, which is not the case in life or with humans. There's that aspect, and the irony of it is that ultimately what we're talking about is the value way back in the day, early, let's go back to the 1800s or whatever. It was a handshake. It was your
Mm-hmm.
word, your honor, your character, a handshake. And this is so there's a place for automation, for artificial intelligence,
Mm-hmm.
automation, and so forth. However, to your point, when it's devoid of the soul, of that human relationship, because that endears and it endures. People come back over and over and over again to a company, to a person, because of that personal relationship. And when that's been removed, or the pendulum has swung too far to where it's
Mm-hmm.
removed, people, there's no relationship, there's no loyalty, there's none of it. It's all absent and gone. And it's reminding me,
Mm-hmm.
Jaclyn, before we jump into AI, there's a vintage movie, Miracle on 34th Street. There's a wonderful part in it where the character playing the Santa Claus, oh, we don't have it, Gimbals doesn't have that, so I'm sending you to Macy's. They send you to the competitor.
Mm-hmm.
This is what the character that played Santa Claus did. And all of a sudden, the titans, the owners of these two empires, because the customers in the movie went, what? Wait a minute, what? And all of a sudden, like, you have me at the forefront of your concern. Oh, you have me as a customer, our relationship at the fore. And all of a sudden they started referring back and forth to each other. And what happened? People were happy. People were getting what they needed or wanted. They were doing so, and there was endearment to these companies. That is the opportunity that I would say to you, that we're returning to, even though it seems like it's air quotes new.
Yeah, 100%.
So let's jump into how AI may automate, but authenticity converts. Speak to that. You touched on it moments ago, but just reiterate that. And I just want to, before you do, I just want to bring up, we're speaking with Jaclyn Van Greunen. This is Jaclyn, the Lady Jaclyn. You can reach her at Linktree/the-Lady-Jaclyn. And how human design she is integrating and revolutionizing business with this system and so forth, in how really we come to meet the modern day and the current times of how everything is shifting. So AI may automate, but authenticity converts. How?
Absolutely. So it's so beautiful because I love AI. Right? I love technology. I love the innovation. I'm a projector, so anything that's going to make my life more efficient and easier to get things done, I'm all for it, right? Because I want to nap, I want to rest. So we're not at all saying that that
No,
AI
yeah,
is going
that,
to take over
or that it's bad.
100%,
Right. No,
or that it's
correct.
bad. Exactly. We're just saying, well, this is inevitable, there's change, and we know that people don't love change, right? And that's the bigger conversation, I think, that we're having here, is going, the way that things have been doing is not the way that things are going to necessarily continue if you're wanting success, right? So like we mentioned before, people can notice the inauthenticity, or people, I'll give you a tangible example, and this is probably, I mean, this is so true, right? So I use social media. I'm looking for a hairdresser. My hairdresser recently moved. So, ladies, I was looking for a new hairdresser. I just needed to get my hair washed and blow waved. And I searched on Instagram, my Google now, right? I'm a millennial, so my Google. Look on Instagram. I want to feel the energy in the space, and I find this space, and on Instagram it looks absolutely amazing. I look at the little bit of reviews and it's really cool, like the people, the energy, everything that I'm getting from Instagram. I'm loving the aesthetic of the place. It's really cute. It's awesome. I make a booking and I go. And I walk in, and immediately as I walk in, I feel this energy. I'm like, oh, I don't really like this space. Like, it's not really speaking to me. And then I kind of, don't we all do that? We silence that inner, that inner wisdom that we
Voice, that
have.
inner wisdom.
That inner voice, inner wisdom that we have.
You walk out with a pixie
And
cut.
yeah, exactly. And immediately I'm like, and as a splenic projector, I should know, because my blueprint is literally telling me instinctually, I will know if something's for me or not. And immediately I knew this place is not for me. But what did I do? I went against my blueprint, right? And I decided, no, well, I still need to get my hair done. I still need to get it washed. I need to get it blow dried. So I gave them a chance. Honestly, it was probably like the worst experience of my life. And I walked out and I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Because, first of all, we were not energetically a match. Like, I was not a match to this one. There were women there that clearly were matched to the energy, and they loved it. So I mean, it's not a bad place. Just I was not vibing with
Right.
that space, right? And it wasn't because it was anything okay, there's a few things that I think that could have changed, but it was just energetically a mismatch, right? And I walked out, and then I realized, well, first of all, they converted purely because they invited me in energetically with their Instagram. But when I walked in, energetically, it wasn't a match for me.
Hmm.
And so they're not gonna see me again as a customer, right? But then there was
Right.
also certain things that they did that also didn't really connect with me as being me, with my hair and the way that my hair flows. They did the blow wave how they knew the blow wave would have been done. And immediately when they started with what they're doing, I knew that this wasn't going to work for my hair. So the point of the matter is that your sales script, or the way that you've been approaching certain things, if it's not really trying to connect from an authentic place with the person that you're dealing with, you're not going to convert in perpetuity. There's not going to be a sustainable growth in terms of your conversion. It might, like in my instance, only happen once, and it's not going to happen again. And also what we know from marketing is that scientifically, when we have a bad or a good experience, we'll tell 7 other people. So again, there's repercussions, because if a person has to ask me, listen, do you recommend a hairdresser? That I'm not going to badmouth them, but I'm definitely also not going to recommend them as being, because
Right.
my experience wasn't great. So the whole point
Right.
is that yes, AI and technology is amazing because we're getting ourselves out there. We're automating. We've got access to a whole world that we never had access to with social media, with AI, with technology. But you still have to have that authentic connection. You still have to connect on a, especially, like, for example, a salon which is super, super personal. There was no opportunity for them to really get to know me. It was just like, oh, she's got long hair, we're going to
Right.
blow wave it in the way that we know, instead of going, listen, what actually works, what doesn't work with your hair, let's figure it out together.
Right. And there's an aspect here too of, that old saying where you're speaking to the authenticity of things, the walk the talk. So when and false advertising or advertising, when you promote an image and an aesthetic and or a service or a product, and then it fails to meet, the standard, it fails to meet the test because what you're promoting and what you're actually producing are two drastically different versions. There's the fallout that you're speaking to, because with social media and with AI and so forth, you can make things look amazing,
Amazing.
and yet then when you're not backing it up in real time, real life, it affects your business. To your point, it becomes a one-off, or it becomes a canceled appointment, or it becomes, I'm sorry, to hotels or hairdress. I'm sorry. Does this picture represent this location? Because they don't look at anything.
Hmm.
And to your point, word of mouth and how that spreads in a positive or negative manner. And so, to your point, AI may automate, but it's the authenticity that converts. It's what's at your center that converts.
Hmm.
Is it live or Memorex? Is it real or you know bait and switch?
Hmm. A
And
a
this is
100%. And also, we know the truth is that people buy from people, right? And a lot of times, I mean, I know
relationships.
relationships. So I I joke. I recently, different city. I've been frequenting a different city, in Joburg. So I had to find a hairdresser there. And honestly, I literally just go to the hairdresser just to be in her energy because she's incredible. Like, we have a little chat. It's my little fix because I don't know a lot of people in the city, and that was kind of my way of finding connection. And so I would literally just book a blow wave just so that I can kind of have a conversation with her. And we've started to build a relationship to the point that if she had to say, listen, I recommend this shampoo, or I recommend that you do this with your hair, or I recommend, I'd be like, sure, no problems, like, do it. Because
Right.
we've built that rapport, we've built that trust, we've connected in a way. So it's interesting because when you're especially in a service based business, you're really needing to build rapport and connection with your client instantaneously, and people are becoming a lot more connected so they can sift through what doesn't feel authentic. So when you're truly coming from a place of authenticity, like, this is truly what I can offer you, it's going to be instant. Is it a hit or is it a miss? And sometimes it's going to be a miss, because that's fine. Like, not everyone is
Right.
made for everybody. Like, we know every business is not
E-
made for everybody, doesn't
exactly.
solve everybody's problem. But the bigger question is that if you're coming from a space where you're not authentically trying to connect with your potential customer, then you're going to miss out a massive opportunity.
Yeah, and to your point, ongoing word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
long-term client, long-term business, and how authenticity, the soul, the human contact, the relationship matters. And when it fails to or ceases to matter, when it automates beyond any relationship, you've lost the plot line. You've lost the people, because people, humans, naturally come into relationship with one another, with themselves. And this is, to your point, where business needs to, I would say, return or go, because there's a point
Mm-hmm.
of which bringing this wisdom to the forefront and harnessing it in an authentic manner, cannot be fake, is going to
Mm-hmm.
endear the public, people to you, clients, customers, employees. Absent that, what do people say? Oh, I'm just a number. Oh, they don't care. Why should I?
Mm-hmm.
If the company doesn't
Mm-hmm.
care, why should I? And that's true of an employee.
Absolutely.
It's true of a client, a customer. Let's move to your greatest sales strategy is being fully yourself. Your greatest sales strategy is being fully yourself. Explain.
So it's interesting because in sales, we know that there's certain skill sets that you've got to know. You've got to know how to pitch, you've got to know how to close, you've got to know your product, what it is that you're selling, you've got to know what solution or what problem it solves, right? That doesn't go away. But the way that you show up is different. And it's so interesting because I gave a talk last week and I said, you are the sales advantage that nobody else has. Because I was speaking to ladies within the cleaning industry. And what puts you apart? If we say that people buy from people, what is going to put you apart from the next person who is selling your product or your service? Is you, right? How many hairdressers are there in the city of Joburg? And I keep going back to the same person. She's good at what she does, 100%. So that's a tick, right?
Mm,
But her she's just 100% authentic. And it just I vibe with it. Like we just vibe, we connect, right? And she truly, when she's busy with me, she's busy with me. She'll have like one or two people asking her questions, but I feel seen, I feel recognized, I feel like I have her attention for 30 minutes. I feel like she's really taking care of my hair. I can see she literally wants the best for it. So you feel that energy, you feel that authenticity. So that's one part. So it's the energy. The second part is everybody's individual and everybody's unique. So what is making you unique and how can you actually utilize that uniqueness to put you apart from the rest?
mm,
So I know I'll speak from experience is that this for me I need an invitation. So for me, put me in a room and get me to network and connect with people, I can instantly do it, and sales will come so easy because it's a conversation. I generally listen, I recognize the other person, I see, oh, that's the problem, that is exactly the thing that I can help them with, and I'll go in and be like, oh, by the way, yes, I can assist you with that. If you're interested, let me know. And it doesn't come from a place of neediness, it doesn't come from a place of that hard sale. It just comes from a place of I truly see your problem and I truly can offer the solution, and the person can feel it, right? That's
mm.
authentically my personality. It's my value system. I will only sell you something, or I'll only offer you something, a service or a product, if I know it can actually solve the problem that you had, because I truly care. So, what is your unique gift? How can you utilize that unique gift? But then, how can you also remain authentic and not just try and not come from a place? And this is, I think, also the different questions we had is Are you coming from a place of scarcity, of victim mindset, of fear, of neediness? Because the other person is going to feel that. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're truly coming from a space of knowing, hold on, I offer a great service, I have a great product, I can clearly see this person will benefit from it, I will be silly not to introduce it to them. If they take it or not doesn't bother me. I've done my part. I've introduced them to it. I've opened up the door, and I can confidently say if they don't take it, then it's fine. It wasn't meant to be for them, and you move on to the next person. But that's a different set of confidence.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add,
Mm-hmm.
because you're touching on something that's so vitally important in sales, in business, and you said it, it's this aspect of when you recognize you're aligned with the product or products that you're with the company, the products and so forth, you're passionate about them, all of that. But then it's that one step further that says, I see you. I looked to you, your business, your company. Do you actually need it? Will it
Mm-hmm.
benefit you as my client, my customer? And I'm not just hawking you something. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in. People will walk away with two experiences. They presented things, they were articulate, they presented everything in a beautiful manner, and they weren't hard selling me and they weren't selling me something I didn't need. That in business and sales is priceless. Because the flip side is inauthenticity, this whole I'm just hawking you anything and everything, I'm just making the sale, I'm just coming at you with no regard for what you might need, what your circumstances might be. And that too leaves a lingering, it leaves a taste in your mouth, it leaves a lingering impression. And of course, what happens when they are ready, when you do it the right way, when they are ready, they remember you.
Mm-hmm.
Jaclyn, she was aware of my circumstance, or she was aware that it was not the right time, but she was aware that I could benefit from it. Well, I'm ready now. So I go back to her
Mm-hmm.
because she demonstrated that to human design and so forth, she saw me. The flip side is you don't care. You
Mm-hmm.
don't see people, you don't care, and that equally leaves an impression, and it's not a good one. So this is where,
Absolutely.
to your point, you know, sales, your greatest sales strategy is being fully yourself. You've got to be in alignment with yourself. And it brings us to the next one, which I absolutely love. I love all of these, Jaclyn. Sales is shifting. Let me just bring it up here.
Mm-hmm.
Sales is shifting. And those who lead with heart will lead the future. And that's really what we're speaking to is those that lead with heart will lead the future. Because again, we're coming back around, we're coming full circle to where people matter.
Mm-hmm.
People, relationships matter. That your character matters. Business leaders, hi. You
Mm-hmm.
might want to listen to the people.
And it's also true because most businesses, barring a few, are recurring businesses. They require recurring sales from the same
Right,
customer. That's what I mean.
right.
So it's not just once off purchase. Maybe, there's a large percentage of businesses that are like, you'll only buy a solar system once off, but then you're going to need the services, right?
Right,
So
right.
yes, there are businesses where you have a once-off purchase. However, a lot of businesses rely on recurring business from the same customer. How do you
Yes,
maintain that customer is connection, is building a rapport, is by being truly authentic with them, right? And even if the customer only buys once off from you because that's all they can offer you, all they can give to you is that once off purchase, they will automatically tell seven other people if they absolutely loved your service, or if they loved your brand, or if they loved the experience that they had from you. They will naturally tell seven other people. So you're naturally
yes.
getting the word of mouth marketing as well.
Which
But
is
when you're
free.
looking at that,
It's free,
which is
word of
free,
mouth.
100%, exactly. And we all walking salespeople, whether we like it or not. And I think sales has had a bad rap for too long. And hopefully it's changing, and I'm inspired to actually change it. I never thought I'd say it because I never considered myself as a salesperson. If you had asked me a year ago, even as early as a year ago, Jaclyn, you are going to be in sales training. Jaclyn, you're going to be focusing on sales. I would have said, no, you're absolutely nuts. Like I don't even consider myself as a salesperson. But honestly, like we're all walking salespeople by the clothes that we wear, where we get our hair done, how we do our makeup, what cologne we wear, what shoes
We're
what cars
consumers,
we drive. Like
right? We're
we're
consumers.
consumers, right? And if we love something, we'll tell other people, whether it be we're sharing it online or we're
Yes.
actually physically tell our girlfriends or our colleagues at dinner. So when you're looking at a business and growing sales, but also retaining business, it's all about connection. It's all about the human interaction. Yes, you've obviously got to have a great product or a service. Yes, you've obviously got to have good customer service. Yes, you've got to show up, right? But in order to, if you truly look at the nature of sales and growth within your business, it's all about that human interaction. How well can I build rapport with my client or my potential client? How can I get them to truly trust me? Because when a person truly trusts you, you can literally sell them anything. And but that comes with a sense of responsibility, because in order to maintain that trust, to maintain that rapport, you've got to hold them. You've got to genuinely care about them. You've got to genuinely be like, okay, no, yes, this is actually going to help you, or no, that's not going to help you. Even though that's going to make me meet my quota, I know it's not going to help you, it's not going to serve you, so I'm not going to offer that to you. And I saw this when I was working in sales for a manufacturing company. There's a lot of times that we were told to promote a certain product, but there's a lot of clients that I knew that wouldn't require that product, but they would
Right.
require a different one. So I would then offer them the different one, and I would go and get the other clients that, or go and introduce myself to other clients that would then require the product that we had on the table. So, and that's the authenticity. That's really being true to yourself. But
Mm.
that also comes from a space again of confidence.
And you're also speaking to even a greater arc, which is, that companies and institutions and governments, they forget the relationship, the rapport with the public, which is their client. 8 billion souls on the planet are these companies. They're also the consumers. And so when you fail to create this relationship of trust, of respect, of value, product, service, and so forth, and when you fall short and you're not willing to, because in any relationship, one on one, something
Mm-hmm.
happens, you either care to make amends, to reflect and see your participation in something, or you don't. You either have a partner at the dance or you don't. In industry and
Mm-hmm.
business, it's the same thing. Businesses, and they're forgetting that this, all of this automation and so forth, yes, it's wonderful to a degree, to a point, and yet you're still required to build a rapport. Because again, if you don't care about your client, why would they, or the public, the consumer, why would they ever care about you? And yet,
Mm-hmm.
to your point, when that trust is built, when that rapport is present, it's enduring and it's endearing, and it has a positive ripple effect that is free word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
free, oh my gosh, you have to go to this person or this place or this business. And equally the opposite is true. And so it comes down to, well, sales are shifting, and those who lead with heart will lead the future. It's been true from day one. Now it's where the rubber meets the road here, so to speak. We have two more things that we want to cover, and I want to bring in Olivia's question or statement. This isn't about selling. I just love this. This isn't about selling harder. It's about aligning deeper. It really sums up this whole conversation, Jaclyn, that it's not about selling harder. It's about aligning deeper. How? Speaking to everyone, you're out there, in front of this audience. It's really work smarter, not harder. It's, you don't have to sell hard. align deeper.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely not working harder, it's working smarter. And it's understanding what that harder means. And it's going to mean something, different to each person. It's understanding who you are. So the first thing is truly understanding who you are. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your unique gifts that put you that differentiate you in the marketplace? What's going to make you different? And then really standing in that confidence and truth, and knowing and utilizing it. So each and every single one of us has been given a set of skills. And yes, we can learn skills. And yes, when we apply, we can go on trainings and we can learn different things like how to speak better, how to, pitch better. But the fundamentals is like, who are you and what makes you different from the next person, and how the next person shows up. Because sales was also believed to be purely extroverted. I'm not 100% extroverted. I'm a hybrid personality. So I have a lot of introversion within me. Like, I need time by myself to recoup and regenerate. But then I also do have this extroverted side of me, where I can show up, and being around the right people will give me energy, right? And that's also that projector. It's being around people will then, especially generators, will give me energy. But then it's also understanding that I can't run consistently with that energy, because I'm going to then lead myself into burnout. So again, it's looking, and then that can become more practical as well. So you can actually, you can almost want to say, define it down into how you plan your day, into how do you prospect, into what kind of clients do you want to have, and actually putting the intention out there to only serve these type of clients, because those are the type of people that I want in my space and my energy. There was even a point where I was in sales and I wouldn't want to deal with certain people because I didn't like their energy, but yet they were really big clients. But I had the knowing and understanding that if I had to put them into my basket, I would drain my energy, which means when my energy is drained, I'm not open to receiving more clients. So in actual fact, it's a detriment to have them, even though they contribute to, the numbers. So again, it's that confidence, it's understanding and knowing who you are, and then living that truth, and living that in an honest way, in an authentic way.
Because to that point, a single client might have the numbers, but they can be completely draining of your entire, life force, let alone, enthusiasm and joy
Mm-hmm.
for what you're doing. And thus you could pick up 10 that replace the one, but there's
Mm-hmm.
joy in them. And it's, to your point,
100%.
listening. It's listening. It's aligning deeper and having the faith and the fortitude to say, it's okay to let this client go. You're quote unquote a
Mm-hmm.
problem child. I'll come over
Mm-hmm.
here and have 10. And
Yeah.
yes, that may be
Or hand them over.
right.
Hand them
Yes,
like
hand them to
hand them
somebody
over
else
to
that
the
might
next
align. And
colleague. 100%.
this one
Hand
doesn't
out
work
the
for
next,
me.
yeah.
Here, it's yours.
Yeah, take it. Yeah. But even that, it's amazing, because again, it's coming from a place of generosity. It's coming from a place of, okay, if I
And
give
authenticity.
whatever I
Yes,
give, I receive tenfold. If you have that belief, I
exactly.
have it. So
Yes.
subconsciously, instead of going, oh no, I'm sorry, I can't work with you, going, oh, sorry, I think they will be a better fit for you, and connecting them with the person. Because like we said, we're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's perfectly fine. And in sales, it
Mm.
works the exact same way. Sometimes there's clients that you're not going to get on with, but don't it's not in detriment of the business. Just
No,
move them on to the
just
next
move through.
salesperson
Right.
that's your colleague. 100%. And you're making space, you're opening up the doorway for potential of new clients, and for people who you actually genuinely connect with. I
Yeah.
think the starting point, though, is really just getting to know and understand how your energy actually works, what actually fills your tank up, how are you best designed to make decisions,
Yes.
who are you as a person, what is your skill set. Are you a natural communicator, or do you need to surround yourself with people who give you energy in order to communicate? Are you a natural overthinker, or do you have a specific selected mindset that you can use in your sales strategy? So there's a lot of deeper things that we can actually uncover and unpack. But the biggest thing is, I would probably say, is if you don't come from a space of confidence, your prospecting client is going to feel it, and then they're
Right.
going to shut off because they're
Yeah.
not going to trust you if you don't trust yourself.
Right. And coming from a place of authenticity. You have to be authentic. When you're authentic, no matter what it is, it's energy. It's going to be received and felt. And, and also don't be, to your point, don't be afraid to pass on a client or pass on a client or move beyond, because what's meant for you is already there. It's already yours. It's just having the
100%.
confidence and the alignment to recognize that and say, it's okay, this one's not for me. Because again, do you want a client that's a headache and not misaligned with you energetically and all this stuff that just consumes you? Or do you want 10 that are harmoniously aligned? And that's permission. That's giving ourselves permission. Before we close out with the sales EQ method, I just want to bring in, because Olivia is saying, you are speaking my language. My philosophy was I was selling myself, which is very true, because the product is the product, but you are selling yourself. It is you on the line. You are the relationship. And she said that I sold pre-need funeral plans years ago. My trainer was upset with me because his philosophy was, if you're not getting 20% cancellations, you weren't being successful. She refused that and sold only what people wanted and needed. I spent more time with them than he thought was appropriate, but I had only one cancellation in 8 years and one sale that was over 25,000 to a best friend who she assisted but didn't, air quotes, sell to. And so, see, again, this is speaking right, you're bowling a strike, Olivia, with the authenticity, with knowing yourself, that you've got to back up what you're selling. And when you do it in a proper way, you don't have 20% cancellations. You have one in 8 years. The end result, I have a dear friend, his motto is the end result speaks for itself. And that's a point of all of this. Before we close out, Jaclyn, let's talk about, you've created Sales EQ Method. Explain what it is and how you're implementing it.
So it is a system where we literally deep dive into understanding exactly who you are. So we unlock that blueprint for you. We look at what your skills, your natural strengths are. We look at what what your challenges might be. We look at how your energy flows. We look at how best to utilize that energy so that you become more efficient. And then we put it into practical implementation. So it's one thing to know it, and like I said right in the beginning, when I uncovered and I learned more about myself, I actually had to go and experience it. I had to go through a trial and error of going, oh, hold on. I mean, even with the hairdresser scenario, even in that moment, I knew my intuition was telling me I'm a splenic projector. My intuition was telling me this is not the right place, but I still went against it, and I learned the lesson. So through this program, it's uncovering who you are so that you can have your blueprint, so that you can work, and then we work through the blueprint together for a period of time, and then you have that blueprint that you can then utilize moving forward. And we put it into practical terms, and we look at things like how you're best designed to show up with confidence. How do you build rapport quickly and instantaneously? How do you cut through that lack of self confidence or limiting self-talk that you might have? How do you find inspiration and motivation on the days where the doors close? Because we also know that in sales, you're going to get a lot of no's, right? And how do we actually move through that so that you can consistently show up in a high vibration, so that you can actually attract who and what it is that you're wanting to attract, that's going to actually move your business forward. So I'm very excited about it, because it is Sure, I didn't realize, but I had been beta testing it for while I was in my career in sales. I was beta testing it with my team that I was managing at the time. I had complete different individuals, and I looked at this and I was like, how do I get the best out of each one of them, because they're so different and the one size fits all approach is clearly not working. And once I could truly figure out who they were and what their strengths were and what their gifts were, but then also what they struggled with, and I spoke to that, that's when they flourished. And I
Right. It
still
unlocks, it
today,
opens, right? Yes.
and 100%, and still today I have it. I'm no longer managing the team, but I have team members that check in with me and they tell me. I mean, one team member actually messaged me the other day and he was like, I just closed R500,000 deal. I just want to check in with you and see how you are. And
See?
I was like, that's just so amazing. I was just thinking to myself, that's honestly just so amazing. Thank you so much for checking in with me. Like, I'm great, but I'm just so proud of you. Like, well done. And I just could feel that success energy through the phone.
Mm.
And I knew that even though I want to say subconsciously he maybe didn't realize that I was kind of giving him a little bit of tools to truly be himself, because the
Mm.
more he showed up as himself, the more he actually closed the deals, which is so beautiful, instead of trying to be like everybody else.
Yeah, because your soul speaks. We're all
Mm-hmm.
energy. And this is the point. It's when you connect to that, when you align with it, when you harness these ancient divination systems, the wisdom of them, it aligns you, it opens you, it cracks, takes off the masks and all these false things. And it really, you're like, oh, and now it's clicking, it's magnetizing the right people to you, because everything is energy. So again, to your point, it's like art. Humans are like art. Not every piece is for every person. Okay, well, that's true of industry. And so it's where it's the works that you're doing and bringing to the fore that are going to be quite, I've used this, revolutionary, because that is the age that we are in. It's the Aquarian era. It's a matriarchal era, and it's a soul forward, authentic
Mm-hmm.
soul forward era. It's a complete inverse of where we've been. And so it's going to take time for people, like you said, it's not some little
Mm-hmm.
tugboat. We just, it's a big, freight liner steamer. And yet the industry will move, because nothing remains stagnant. Everything changes. So let me just bring in, before we say goodbye, Jaclyn, I just want to bring in, we've been speaking with Jaclyn Van Greunen, the Lady Jaclyn. She's integrating human design, and she's created the sales EQ method, and she's going to be and is revolutionizing industry, sales, business. And we're going to check back in with you, because in the coming months into the early part of 2026, you have something that you're launching, and we cannot wait to have you back at that point to do a full court press on discussing it and having you back and being with us. Any last parting words, anything you want to share with the audience?
That's a really good question. So there's so many things that come top of mind, but I think the biggest thing is, and I spoke, and I because I've got an event tomorrow, and the talk that I'm giving is all about connection is the new currency, and it's been the new currency for a while. And I think in the world that we're living in the world that we're moving towards, is not forgetting the connection part, and truly, how do you connect with another person if you haven't connected first with yourself? And I think that's the biggest thing, is everybody needs to learn how to truly connect with themselves, to understand themselves, to know thyself, so that you can know the other. And then you can build that rapport, then you can actually trust, or you can build that trust, you can build that connection. And once we have those relationships, sales is going to be, it's organic, it's natural, it's like a natural evolution. When you truly have a connection with another person, you're just generally having a conversation about what it is that you sell. And it's not going to be this hard masculine drive anymore. It's truly just going to be, oh, I hear you have this problem. Oh, by the way, I have this solution. Here it is.
Hmm.
Does it interest you?
Mm.
And that other person's truly going to feel like, oh, I really like your vibe. Yes, it actually does interest me. It's perfectly synchronized, perfect alignment. It's like, come like you were God sent. Like, yes, I'd love it. And
Mm.
that's that beauty of it. And then that's where your sustainable growth is going to go. And obviously, that's a very, I want to say, a lot, like wide overview, a very simplistic
Right.
way to talk about it. But generally, if you come from that methodology and you put every other principle into play, if you take the necessary action, if you've got the necessary systems in place, working towards that overview, things are going to be just so beautiful.
Well, and think about, when you traffic in the currency of truth and authenticity and relationship and self, it becomes, and the soul, traffic in the currency of the soul. To your point, in a broader message, it becomes effortless. It becomes joy. It's no longer work.
Hmm.
It's works. It's pleasure.
Hmm.
And to get there, you've got to traffic in the currency of the soul, the heart,
Absolutely.
the relationships. The Lady Jaclyn, our own very lady, the Lady Jaclyn. It's been so wonderful to have you on, to see where you are, and we cannot wait to see what's upcoming, what's coming next. So thank you for being here. Thank you all for listening. We have been speaking with the Lady Jaclyn, Jaclyn Van Greunen. You can reach her at linktree/TheLadyJaclyn. Stay tuned for what's coming next because there is more coming from Jaclyn. And we will see you in the next episode of Inspired Connections.